Holy crap, I'm back! Welcome back to Nerd Notify, everybody. So sorry for the delay. I know I've been going for a while, but I promise I am back in full swing and I will be kicking out videos for you guys as much as I possibly can. Holiday season is done. That means work and retail is finally slowed down and I can have somewhat of a life back. Now, if you haven't been sleeping under a rock, last night was Nintendo's big announcement, or I should say conference for the Nintendo Switch. And we got some nice little tidbits of information, some other stuff I don't really care about, but we're going to talk about it anyway. So again, you heard right. Nintendo finally spilled the beans on this new console in terms of release date, price, games we can expect to see, how the Joy-Cons work, which is primarily what this conference was actually all about, was about these damn Joy-Cons. So we'll get into that in a second. But we at least got some information on what this thing is, how it's going to operate, and what we can expect to pay for it, which is kind of the important part in my mind. Let's knock that out the way first, since that was the big heavy hitter for their opening anyway. March 3rd. We knew it was coming early, so we knew it was in March anyway, but March 3rd is the actual launch day, and it is going for $299 in the US. Europe still hasn't really had a price. It says kind of check with your local retailers, and it's over like 29,000 yen in Japan. So it's $300. That's not bad. I'll tell you what, I kind of already expected it to be a cheaper cost. There was no way this thing was going to sell for $400 or $500, not with what it actually is and what they're fitting into this console slash handheld, whatever you want to call it. So $300 in my mind is fair. That sounds good to me. Although apparently the accessory is a little skyrocketing in cost and a little high for people. So we'll talk about that maybe at the end. All right, so let's talk about what you actually get out the box when you buy this thing. So it is going to be the actual Switch console, which is the screen. That's what they're calling the console. You're going to get the left and right Joy-Con, obviously. You're going to get a grip, so you can have those in hand if you want. The strap, which is something that they showed off that kind of attaches to the Joy-Cons and makes the actual left and right buttons a little bit more prominent, a little bit easier to hold. And of course, it's a strap, so you don't go flinging this thing across the room. The dock itself, an HDMI cable, and the AC adapter. Also, the actual console is apparently USB Type-C for charging, so that's pretty cool. So that's a nice little thing to have. It should charge fairly quick and have a decent lifespan on that, so that should be good. Nintendo did also announce a couple colors for the Joy-Con. So there is a neon red and blue. If you're feeling fancy, you want to do something crazy with your colors. They're going to have more obviously after launch, so that's not a surprise there. But the funny thing was that they're launching the console either with the standard gray, where both Joy-Cons that come with it are just gray, or you can get one that is one neon red, one neon blue with the controller. So, meh. I don't care about the color. I think it looks a little silly personally, but I dig it. I mean, I don't like that I don't like the blue and the red on the grip or something. I don't know. It just freaks me out. Whatever. Moving on. As I said earlier, this conference really was them kind of talking about the Joy-Cons and how you expect to play with the Switch. Not just like in the TV mode or just in the handheld mode for traveling purposes or whatever, but actually what is inside these Joy-Cons, which they're really toting as a lot of tech. They are promoting this as the culmination of years and years of Nintendo innovation and invention. Everything that they've done since the NES leading on up to this Switch is all included in these controllers and in this handheld slash console experience. So let's get that out the way really fast. The Joy-Cons contain NFC, which is primarily for reading the amiibos. That's really it. There's a capture button on the left Joy-Con that is going to be for screenshots, at least at launch. They said they would like to include video as well. So we do expect to see that, and you'll be able to share those on different social media outlets and whatnot. Also, they have the gyroscopes embedded for motion control, which is, again, expected. And then there was the inclusion of these L and R buttons on the rails, which we didn't really notice that well when we first saw the Joy-Cons, but it was expected that there had to be some kind of buttons on there for when you're playing some of these multiplayer games. So it's a fully featured controller in that small little shell. So I pulled up the site to actually see all the different costs on the other things as well. So the Pro controller, which is the only thing I'd probably be looking at purchasing at launch as an accessory, is $70. $70 for this Pro controller. Damn, that's a little high. Nah, I don't care what you say, Nintendo. I don't care what you say, fans. That's a little high. Moving on, the Joy-Con controllers. The set is $79.99, but you can buy those separately. But it's not showing. Oh, there we go. $49.99. $49.99 a pop for one of the Joy-Con, and that's depending on if you get the left or the right. So, like I said, you have to make sure you get the set, or if you break one, it's $50 for you to replace it. So, be on the lookout for that because that's not going to be fun. The charging grip, so you can charge these guys while you're playing, I guess, is $30. The dock set is $90, $89.99. The wheel, because of course they are going to make a driving wheel similar to what you have for the the Wiimote and stuff, is $15. I'll pass. I'm good. Don't need it. And it looks like that is it, at least in terms of accessories at launch for the Switch. I'm sure we'll see more as time goes on, but that's all we've got. And again, $299 for the actual console. I forgot to mention this, but I want to make sure I throw this back in for the actual console and the online services and some other features we didn't know about. You can have 8 of these Nintendo Switch set up as a local kind of connection. So if you have 8 friends that have, or 8 people that have a Nintendo Switch and everybody wants to play some game together or whatever it is that's going to support it, there you go. 8 Nintendo Switches can be locally hooked up to each other. Moving on, the only other real tantalizing bit of information that I thought was interesting was that they are launching their new online service for Nintendo. So akin to Xbox Live for Microsoft or the PlayStation Network for PlayStation, Nintendo is going to launch some type of online service this year. The cool bit of the news is that it's going to be free, at least for a time, because they want to work out the bugs, is what I'm assuming. It is going to be free for anyone who signs up for it. It's a free trial from March through what they say fall of 2017. So sometime later this year, we will expect to have to start paying for their service as well, which again is not surprising if they want to have anything remotely stable. So that's a good thing in my mind. We have no idea what cost will be or anything like that as of this moment. Now, the conference didn't actually talk about what was available for the service or what they were planning. They mentioned maybe just lobbies and being able to party up with friends and things like that, right? And just being able to play online and being able to play with people from different regions, which is pretty cool since this one's not going to be region locked. That's awesome. But upon looking on their website, they're actually showing a few little things here that I can actually get some information on. So the online lobby and voice chat, which is, again, should be considered a standard when it comes to any online service. But what I was laughing at is the monthly game download. So subscribers will get to download and play Nintendo Entertainment System, NES, or Super Nintendo Entertainment System, Super NES game with newly added online play for free for a month. I don't know if that means, I'm taking it as it's written here. We can play it for free for a month and then it's gone. And then we have to pay for it. That's what it sounds like to me. So if that's the case, I'm sorry, that's stupid, but whatever. And then, of course, they have exclusive deals, special deals for subscribers, discounts on digital games, blah, blah, blah. Kind of expected stuff again. Wow, so a lot of information out for the Switch, so far. But I hear you all out there. Hey, Damon, what about the games? Are there going to be any good games besides Legend of Zelda? Is there anything that we can look forward to that's going to be worth playing? Yeah. So let's go over that real quick because they did mention quite a few games. At least in some form, in some way, shape, or another. So let's run through that really fast, starting with the first one that I guarantee I'm not going to be the biggest fan of, but we'll see how this goes. 1-2 Switch. This is Nintendo's Wii Sports, or whatever you want to call it, launch title for the Switch. This is a game that is really meant to show off what those Joy-Con controllers can do. Now, the idea of this game is that you're not looking at the screen at all, is that you're looking in the eyes of your opponent. So whether it's something that's reaction time with a quick draw shooting, or someone's got a sword and they bring it down and you have to catch it on the other side with your Joy-Con, that's what we're seeing. Some things are like a copycat pose thing, which the commercial for that looked awful, but whatever. But this is a game that's going to show off the Joy-Con. So there can be some really awesome moments in this. Overall, I'm not extremely excited about that. I mean, that could be fun for a couple party sessions, but after that, I'm not going to play it. And we will see 1-2 Switch launch with the Nintendo Switch on March 3rd. So, sorry, I forgot to mention that. The next game we saw was called ARMS. Now, this looks interesting. I don't know how much longevity it'll have, but it looks really cool. So, ARMS is an arena style battle, fighter that is two characters throwing these extendable arms at each other to hit each other until you knock them out, pretty much. It is all motion based, at least from what they showed off on stage. So moving is you kind of tilting the Joy-Cons. When you punch, they punch, certain things. If you punch and twist, you can kind of fling it. So you're actually aiming since it's you throwing these arms across like an arena. So it looks really, really interesting. It looks really cool. Of course, it'll have online battle play versus, and then having like local split screen or just local with multiple systems attached. So that looks cool. We won't see it until spring of 2017. I need to see more before I can give it an honest like whoa. So, all right, probably the one I was most excited just to know was coming, even though we knew it would, is Splatoon 2. So, Splatoon is back. It looks great. It looks like a lot of the same, which is not a bad thing in my mind. I just hope they expand on it a little bit, maybe give you some more game modes or a more expanded story or something, just to give it a little bit more legs underneath it. But we're seeing upgraded weapons, some really new cool super moves. It looks like some more customization for the actual squids. So I hope that that's there, so we can just have a little bit more fun with that to make it a little bit more personable. But overall, it looks a little bit smoother and a little bit tighter in the gameplay. There's some things kind of updated to work better with the Switch's console versus the Wii U in terms of how you super jump to other characters and things like that. But that looks awesome. I really like Splatoon. I thought it was a ton of fun, so I'm really excited for this. Although we will not be seeing Splatoon 2 until summer of 2017 is what it looks like. So we've got a while on that one too. All right, following Splatoon 2 was probably one of their big ringers, and this is the one I'm most split on. I don't know why, but maybe you'll see what I mean when you see it. It is Super Mario Odyssey. So of course we got a new Mario game coming with a new Nintendo console. It'd be stupid if we didn't. And it looks really good in terms of just visually. It looks stunning in a lot of its different areas. But it's doing this weird mesh thing again, kind of like what Sonic did with Sonic Adventure, how it's Sonic in the real world. They're doing Mario in the real world, and I don't think I like that part of it. It's jarringly separate for me for some reason. And I don't know why. Like, Sonic Adventure didn't bug me for some reason when I was younger. Granted, I was a much younger kid, so maybe I just let it go because it was Sonic and I love Sonic. This looks weird, at least in those parts where he's in this real world running around, right? So it's a sandbox that is massive, and there's different worlds, I believe, that we're going to probably be able to, or zones, whatever you want to call them, that he's going to be able to go to. And some things look very, very Mario and others don't. And it's really throwing me. But they do have this really cool mechanic with this hat, some sentient hat that's got eyes on it. I don't know. We'll find out more about it later. But you can kind of toss this hat, use it to jump over obstacles and things like that. I'm sure it'll be utilized in boss fights and whatever. So it looks cool. I'm just very skeptical on that part of it. I wonder if it's going to really mess with me. It probably won't, but it's weird to me. So I'm curious to see what people think about it. Super Mario Odyssey should be hitting the Nintendo Switch around holiday 2017. So we'll see that sometime later this year. So that is not a launch title. All right, a couple more games were mentioned in very, very small detail, but they were still mentioned. Although this one had a little bit more. Xenoblade 2 got itself a nice little teaser trailer, and that's going to be a continuation from Xenoblade on the Wii U. To be fair, I didn't play that. I really, really wanted to. I just never got around to it. So I do plan to pick that up before Xenoblade 2 comes out. We'll see. It looks cool. Xenoblade we'll see on, it looks like, actually no, they didn't give us a date for it, so I don't have a date for that. And then one more very, very small teaser was for Fire Emblem Warriors, which really didn't show us anything, but there you go. Fire Emblem Warriors, it's coming. Who knows when. I'm excited that there will be games, but there still wasn't a crap ton of stuff shown that has me excited for the launch. Especially the games that I want to play, because they won't even be out during launch. So the biggest one, and by far the best thing shown after this latest trailer, is Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild. This last trailer was damn good. Like, that's really showed off a lot more scale and the epicness and some cinematic moments of the story that are really looking and shaping up to be something pretty powerful. So I have nothing but high hopes for this game. I hope it's stellar. We'll just have to wait and see when it comes out. But Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild does come out March 3rd at launch for the Switch. So that is going to be the system seller, if anything. And I think that's why it got pushed back, because I mean, it's got to be. So there you go. All right, peeps. I guess that wraps up everything on this Nintendo Switch conference. What do you think? Is there anything crazy that I forgot to mention that you want to talk about? Don't forget to drop that in the comments below so we can talk about it and actually discuss it, okay? Because I'd love to hear everybody's opinions. Don't forget you guys can check me out on all those social networks that you kids love. Links will be in the description. Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Snapchat, whatever. Holler at me. I'm a fun guy. Let's make this happen, all right? You guys rock. Thank you so much for watching. You guys are awesome. Glad to be back. And you've just been notified, all right? Peace.